as I move on to the next speaker, next panelist, and I would like to call on Kanokpon uh, Kaojorian. I hope I got that right. Close, at least.
It's
Close.
call me Zoom, easier.
Okay. Okay, June. Thanks. That will be great. Just to ask you as well, it's the World Health Organization, and you have had a major role to play in these days, kind of thing as well. And you are also one of the leads in the UN Network Working Group on Access to Services, which actually is all about Objective 15. Uh, can I just ask, how has the working group looked at the current situation and had to, because obviously Objective 15 was written prior to the COVID kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, and the COVID posed real challenges to Objective 15. And we've just heard Dr. Poonam give some examples of some countries that tried to do the right thing, and we know that many failed in doing that. Uh, but as you were in the working group in this whole period kind of thing, how did some of what is happening now inform the working group? And how can the working group then inform the states or work with the states in how to make Objective 15 real? The floor is yours.
Well, first, thank you very much. Thank you in inviting me. For me, I'm a migrant myself since 1987, leaving my own country. So this subject, it is in itself is my own passion. Um, for me, I work at WHO. I'm leading on the work on country support and partner coordination. And I also wear another hat with the UN network where I'm leading or co-leading the working group on access to services for Objective 15 of the UN network on migration. For those of you, I don't know whether in previous session or other objective, you know a little bit about the UN network. Basically, is it have different working groups, and there are 6 working group in total. And this is the working group that dealing with services. For us, we have a member of 18 organizations, ranging from UN organization. We have FAO, ILO, IOM. Punam is one of our member. OSCHR, UNAIDS, UNFPA, UNICEF, UN Women. And also we also have NGOs such as Caritas or the the Child Initiative. We also have the labor or worker union PSI with us, the Red Cross, and another organization dealing with specifically with undocumented migrant with the network of 500 organizations in there. And also very importantly, we also have the local government UCLG with us in this working group. Now, previously, before the pandemic, our working group already set up the priority areas. What are the key services that we want to tackle? Because we cannot just go into all different services, but we try to be focused for the first year. And this focus on the first year would include health, housing, water and sanitation, education, decent work. So these are included in our work. And we have developed the collect practice from countries, from partners that who have already started collecting, from our members that have already collecting good practice done by countries or by partners or by cities. And we have also worked on the collection of all of the guidance or tools that produced by our members. Remember that these our members are the leading technical agencies in the sectors that I mentioned. And when the pandemic strike, how do we to respond to you? How do we agile ourselves into responding to the pandemic? We have reprioritize our activity, and basically we develop a policy brief on access to services and in response from the pandemic in the context of access to service, providing services to migrants. And with this one, the we have expanded the area priorities. Instead of 5, they include health, water, sanitation, housing, and education and decent work. We have expanded to 10, for example, to cover, for example, child protection services, also social protection services, sexual and reproductive health, the gender-based violence services. So all of this is what we have done in response to the pandemic. There's a lot more to be done. Our group are still discussing on the priority for this coming month. Apart from now trying to finish the work on the collecting the best practice, we are now looking into what more that we could support, because we see a lot of impact from the pandemic to migrants, in particularly in the area of access to services. When we look at health, many still have no access to services, vaccine deployment and prioritization, allocation and deployment. We still want to make sure that migrants is also have equally access to the services. So this is something that is still on our plate that to be done and still under discussion. The issue of education, where we see that many migrant many children of migrants, because of the stay home, many of them are at home, but then they are now, because of lack of access to services, then they have no education. They cannot join, they cannot continue with education. The same thing with many that are stranded and have now been evicted from their employers, or they sleep on the street, become homeless and all of this. So this is the area that we will be working on it. I will stop here for now. I hope that answer your question, and then maybe I can come back maybe in the next round or another round to talk a little bit about what we do on the health sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, June, and it's impressive how you started by identifying priorities, and that's great. The 5 priorities, and then with the COVID to extend that, and I see some very important areas it extended into: child protection, social protection, sexual reproductive rights, gender-based violence. So it's fantastic how the COVID did inform the necessity to extend services. I was just wondering, the approach then of the working group is to at this stage to collect the kind of best practices around these kind of issues, and then to be able to what's the next step after collecting the best practices? What is the next step? And was this not already there? You mean in all this existence of the UN, we still were not able to go to one place to see the best practices around health globally?
You spot exactly on the right spot. Of course, each agency over years have collect good practice or best practice, but they are scattering here and there, right? You would have, we have done our work in order to develop the global action plan promoting the health, refugees and migrants that Poonam had mentioned. We have done the collection of the practice, because the action should be based on what already been done and the success, how it pan out, before we start recommending other member states to take action. So that has been done, but it's scattered by different agencies. And with this one, our group have been, of course, collecting first from the group, from the members that we have leading technical agencies, put in one place under the UN network website. You also have another side, cities also have collecting. So we are collecting, combining them. And with this one, the UN network, as you probably know, there is a knowledge platform that is being developed. And I think that it's already almost in function, probably from this month, maybe from the International Migration Day. With that one, it's a forum where they will put all the practice collected by different working group, or by different partners, or by different organization there. That's where you can find. Now, in terms of, I don't know whether this is answer your questions, and are they remaining from here that I should answer? Oh, also I should add also, the network we work with right now, of course it works with all member states, but the way how it's set up right now is that because there are member states that less keen, and the member states are also very keen on the implementation of the GCM. So the network has identified and working with member states and identify 15 countries have come forward to become a champion countries. And these champions countries also provide very much input into the network, into the different working groups on the different, providing example of good practice, providing the venue also for testing, field testing of whatever product that are producing by the network working group. Over back to you.
And thank you for again. Thank you for that with regard to. But that was going to be my kind of follow-up question in some way, where you have mentioned about the champion countries and the 15 countries have come forward and things like that. But I also do know that the 15 countries are sort of tied somewhere with the funding as well. That is under the uh, implementation, or are these 15 countries, these champion countries, uh, largely coming on the objective 15 or overall on the different objectives?
Oh, they come for the overall implementation of the GCM, and it's not necessarily linked to the funding. For example, you have Portugal, you have countries like Nepal that have not received the money from, if you refer the funding to the multi-partner trust fund, of which WHO is one of the 12 steering committee. No, the champion country is not linked to funding. It's linked for more country interest in support, in country commitment to the GCM process during the negotiation as well as during the implementation. For example, you see Mexico, you see Ecuador, you see Bangladesh, for example. These are champion countries, or some of our champion countries.
Okay. And I will come back to you. I'll ask you to, if you can share with us in this period, did any government come to you seeking help on what to do in relation to migrant workers, and particularly from this region, let us say from Asia, Middle East, Africa kind of region, did any government come forward? Let's